Welcome to the Explainer. Right now, a massive structural shift is quietly but completely rewriting the digital landscape. For years, Web3 has been a playground for speculation, right? Staring at charts, manually moving assets around. But if we look at the architectural blueprints of Denarii DeFi, that era is totally over. We are officially moving into a machine economy, one where software doesn't just sit there holding your money, it actually works it for you. Okay, let's dive right into this. The Source's vision for the Paperclip AI Orchestrator isn't just, another app. It's really an entire financial operating system built specifically for the agentic economy. The whole idea is to replace human execution with a perfectly coordinated fleet of autonomous AI agents. These agents are out there handling multi-chain routing and really complex financial strategies on a global scale. And you, the human, you simply sit back at the approval gate. It's a massive, seriously futuristic stack, so let's unpack exactly how this all works. To make sense of this incredibly dense architecture, we're going to break our journey down into 6 quick, digestible parts. We'll hit 1. The end of human latency. 2. Enter the agentic economy. 3. The trinity of DLT. 4. 5 pillars of automation. 5. Closing the measurability gap. And 6, the sovereign machine economy. All right, let's jump in. Part 1, the end of human latency. And this brilliantly illustrates the core argument here. Traditional financial systems are basically broken by human bottlenecks. Think about it for a second. Traditional finance is completely tied down by fixed business hours, those annoying 5 p.m. cutoffs, and multi-day settlements. Every single time you have to wait for a bank to open, value is literally leaking out of the economy. But contrast that with the Denarii Agentic system. It operates 24/7, nonstop. It executes instant cross-chain settlements using these multi-agent workforces. It never sleeps, it doesn't need to wait around for a manager's permission, and it completely removes the friction of human coordination. It's a real game changer. Moving on to Section 2. Enter the agentic economy. So what is the actual solution to all that human latency? Well, the orchestrator introduces this concept of zero human companies. Instead of your traditional corporate ladder, the orchestrator organizes autonomous AI agents into highly specialized teams. The source actually reports there are over 128,000 of these active agents deployed right now. That is wild. Just imagine it. You have a CEO agent handling global strategy, an engineer agent instantly auditing code for bugs, a quant agent jumping on split-second market arbitrage, and a social agent running community campaigns all day and all night. It's a complete digital and completely tireless workforce. Which brings us to the core philosophy driving this whole blueprint. Execution beats narrative. The documentation makes a really strong argument that the next big wave of value isn't going to be found in hype-driven tokens that you just hold passively. No way. Speculation is just noise. Execution is the actual signal. If a system still requires a human to manually trust and coordinate things, well, this new paradigm basically looks at it like a dinosaur.
Number 3, the trinity of DLT. Now, what's really interesting here is how this autonomous workforce gets its rock-solid trustless foundation. The protocol proposes a trinity of DLT, essentially unifying 3 totally distinct ledgers to get the absolute best speed and lowest costs. Instead of just relying on one single blockchain, the agents route operations across the XRP Ledger for high-speed value transfers. Then there's Algorand, whose unique math guarantees a transaction is totally final and cannot be reversed. And finally, Hedera Hashgraph, which uses this web-like structure for sub-second speed and super predictable fees. By combining these 3 superchains, the agents can execute really complex operations instantly and with practically 0 gas fees.
Part 4. 5 pillars of automation. Let's ground this abstract tech in some practical business applications. Denarii actually proposes completely replacing expensive legacy SaaS tools and human consultants across 5 main pillars. First up, social agents. They replace platforms like HubSpot by running fully automated marketing. Second, developer agents step in for those pricey security firms by endlessly scanning smart contracts. Third, treasury agents take over for analytics tools by autonomously tracking value and optimizing your yields. Fourth, and honestly, this one is pretty mind-blowing. It swaps out human management consultants for an agent council, basically an AI jury that sits around and debates business strategies. And finally, orchestration agents. They replace project tools like Jira, automatically breaking down big goals and assigning them to the right bots. And the financial impact of all this? It is absolutely staggering. Just by automating project orchestration alone, the source estimates companies can save upwards of $100,000 a year in administrative overhead. Plus, you can add another $10,000 to $50,000 saved per code audit just by deploying those security agents. So the economic incentive to adopt these machine workflows isn't just some slight incremental upgrade. It is a massive paradigm shift for the bottom line. Section 5. Closing the measurability gap. So the crucial point here is that handing the keys over to a digital workforce introduces a massive security risk. The source calls this the measurability gap. Think of it like this. It is incredibly cheap and lightning fast for an AI to write a 300-page book, right? But it still takes a biological human days to sit down, read it, and actually verify it. Because human verification is biologically bottlenecked, there's this really dangerous economic incentive to just let the machines run unchecked. The text warns that this leads to a hollow economy where unverified machine errors just compound and turn into massive systemic risk. To really understand the danger, let's look at the math. Say a single AI agent executes some code and checks its own work. Even if it has a highly impressive 95% accuracy per step, if it does that over an unverified sequence of just 10 steps, the system's reliability absolutely plummets. The probability of end-to-end success drops to just under 60%. Those unchecked errors compound so rapidly, it's like a snowball rolling down a hill. Let's move on and see how this builds a much safer system. How do we actually fix that compounding error? Well, Denari's model completely rejects those single-agent workflows. Instead, they bring in an independent quality assurance, or QA agent, to explicitly audit those intermediate checkpoints. By having a totally separate, specialized agent verify the work, the probability of an undetected error slipping through drops dramatically. We're talking down to just 0.25%. It's basically an automated system of checks and balances. It keeps the whole economy stable, and it does it without needing humans to play babysitter.
And finally, Section 6, the sovereign machine economy.
With all these robust ledgers and safeguards in place, we reach the pinnacle of the blueprint, Orchestrator X. In the old Web3 world, moving assets was a headache. You had to find a bridge, calculate slippage, pay gas fees, and constantly worry about getting hacked. But with Orchestrator X, you simply type your intent, something as simple as route 5000 FLR to XRPL. Then, the sovereign brain takes over. It analyzes global liquidity, queries decentralized, manipulation-resistant oracles, like the Flare Time Series Oracle, to get the best price, and autonomously executes a highly secure route. And it does all of this without ever taking custody of your funds. The human role is literally elevated from being the manual executor to just being the approver. Which brings us to the ultimate world-building vision of the source material, a totally decentralized post-interface economy. We're moving away from these screens that are engineered just to capture human attention. Instead, we're heading toward an invisible infrastructure where software acts as an independent, collaborating economic actor. It's a true autonomous marketplace where agents are literally out there hiring other agents, trading at API speed, and coordinating value completely securely over cryptographic rails. The real revolution happening in Web3 is silent, it's highly structural, and it is already underway. As the internet evolves from a simple communication layer into a hyper-fast execution layer, it forces us to ask a pretty profound question. What is your role when human intent simply becomes the trigger for machine coordination? It's a fascinating and maybe slightly terrifying look at a future where execution truly beats narrative. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.